you? How are things with you? How's
Oh
life?
my gosh. Things are moving. Things are speeding up and
Mhm.
I don't know. I feel like I got a new setup. We moved into this house and we had this like little odd room that is it's like, I don't know, 12 by 10 feet. It's very small. And I think it was some sort of like kids library or something. See the paint on the bottom, it's all that chalk paint,
Mm,
the blackboard paint. And we didn't know what to do with it, and I was doing recordings in my meditation room, and it just, like the lighting wasn't good, and it just didn't seem to really work out, but then I was like, "Hey, maybe I'll turn this into a little podcast studio,"
yeah,
and so things are
it works.
good. Yeah, it totally works. So I'm still doing these chats
Yeah.
and having tons of, I don't know, lots of epiphanies and
Mhm.
experiences, and yeah, I don't know. It's a little, I wouldn't say it's overwhelming, but, like, I'm seeing structures and going out in the
Mm,
woods and interacting with orbs, and it's it's a different direction. It wasn't really what I was expecting,
really?
like
When we first chatted, huh?
yeah, not really. I was expecting everything to flow smoothly, and I would open my healing business, and I would, start doing energy work and stuff, but it hasn't really I kinda had to go through a lot of shadow and transmute a lot of, self-worth stuff
Mhm,
and confidence issues and just doing some really deep dives into, childhood programming and the
mhm.
subconscious and, all that sort of stuff. And kind of in that process, I've cleared out a lot of stuff, and turns out when your frequency goes up, you see more. So I'm having these
That's it.
yeah, so I'm making new friends and
Yep.
making new contacts, and, also the channel's it's kind of gone in a little bit of a different direction, like
Okay. Well, yeah, what direction?
well, I had this idea of I would just kind of be like another Regina Meredith kind of,
Mhm,
like
mhm,
like a really polished, really, like I know what I'm doing sort of, host, and I would have different people from different spectrums of healing and, the spiritual walk, what have you, or
mhm.
just people that really inspired me. And it's kind of like I had this realization recently that I am having these experiences that I guess not a lot of people have. And I
Mhm.
feel like I was maybe not taking it for granted, but kind of just disregarding my own experiences. And so I figured
Yes.
maybe the Sasquatch people and the sky people and all these different energies are interacting with me so that I can bring these experiences out. And so I've decided to kind of talk a little bit more about my own stuff
Uh,
and kind of just go with the whole cryptids and Sasquatch stuff because that's what's happening to me, and it's not exactly what I asked for, but it's exciting and I love it. So why
I
not talk about it?
absolutely adore that you have taken it in that direction because there's nothing more pure than someone who tunes into their own direct experience, their own consciousness, and then is able to share from there. You have people talking about, all the other stuff. Everyone's already done that, but we also need those who have their direct encounters with their cryptids and those more interdimensional beings that are here. So I love that you've taken it. I love that you've surrendered to that. You haven't let kind of the new age and kind of the mainstream spiritual vortex pull you into just becoming another podcaster who talks about the Arcturian.
Yes.
you know,
Yes,
um,
exactly.
this
That's
is
what
this
I
is
wanted in the beginning.
of
I was
course
like,
because
"Oh,
that's
just,
what's yeah, and
yeah,
that's
that's what
that's
you
what
see." And so that
exactly. It's
sorry, I
kind of like
keep interrupting you, but
we're both hyped. It's all good.
it's been a long time and I haven't
Yeah,
seen you, and
yeah.
I'm so excited. But yeah, like I feel like I was what and I say like a million times every episode, so apologies. But in the beginning, I would watch all of these YouTube videos about light workers and this is the way to do it and this is how you're not supposed to do it. And I feel like I was kind of curating my own experience a little bit, kind of like trying to like cram myself into a square
Yep,
peg and I'm a round
yep.
block. I don't know, whatever. But after a while, because it wasn't working and I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing something wrong? This isn't working. This doesn't feel right. And then I just had this epiphany kind of a little while ago where it was like, this is happening right in front of you right now. So talk about it. And
Yeah.
so once I kind of surrendered and and just started going with it, I feel like my enthusiasm for this channel has increased and I think my attitude's gotten a little bit better.
Yeah,
I'll just say that.
Well, I'm gonna say I can feel it. I can see,
Oh,
yeah, there's a deeper confidence, right? A deeper self-assurity. And I mean that's what happens when you follow your own self, your own inner calling, and what's actually happening to you is it doesn't you're not competing anymore. You're just showing up as you are, and you know
right.
the right people will show up to help you, um, to offer what you're here to offer. So I
Mm.
think this is so cool. This is so epic. I mean, it gets boring, everyone talking about the same things, right? So having you follow this is going to open up the door for others to also expand upon their own experience. And it's like you were talking about earlier, the shadow work and everything, and having to kind of peel away in order for what's there to be realized. Like that's really the key. It's not that you were doing anything wrong or that you couldn't figure it out. It was that really removing and transmuting what thoughts, emotions, and experiences were pressed upon you so that you could see what was there. And Sasquatch was like, "Hey, yeah, I've been waiting for however many years. Like, finally, no."
Right.
So, yeah,
Right.
this is
Yeah.
cool. This is so cool. So, what? So we reconnected about 2 weeks ago because I had heard a sound. I was sleeping. I heard a huge sound outside my window, and it sounded like the loudest wood knock. And it wasn't like a, I don't even know how to reenact it, but it was a clear one or two like echoey thuds, right?
Mm.
And it woke me up, and I was like, "Oh, hmm, okay, I think I know who that was." And then that day, we went out in the yard. I think we heard something that sounded not like any other animal or human or car, and I was like, "Oh, okay, they're here, right?" And then shortly after that, you had texted me and asked to do another talk, and I was like, "Well, there's a confirmation." So yeah, that's kind of how we got reconnected again, right?
For sure. Yeah. I don't know what it was, but I woke up in the morning and I never text people in the morning, but I was like, I gotta text Chris. I
Yeah.
I just feel like I gotta reconnect and see what's going on with him.
Hmm.
So yeah. So what is going on with you?
What is going on with me? Where do I even begin? So I'm going through a huge metamorphosis. My work is changing, um, but I'm also becoming more of what I've always been too, right? And I'm realizing that the whole last year and the year before was really a preparation for what's playing out now.
Mm.
Like I said, I just started a beautiful little job at a treatment center where I get to help people through their um,
Oh wow.
addictions and stuff like that. But it's absolutely amazing work that I get to do. I get to teach qigong, meditation, and really
Uh,
return what I call, like the source code or the intrinsic nature of the soul back to these people who have always had it, but maybe not have had the right atmospheres or the right uh, teachers or guides along the way. And then, as the Matrix does, it gobbles you up and it numbs you out. And I find that my work there isn't really about anything other than saying, "Hey, the wellspring of goodness and harmony and love and all those things have always been here. Here's what it looks like, and here's a little magic to go along with it." So,
mm.
that's been the biggest thing. And then, man, when I tell you I feel like I live in a different space time, I'm saying that from a very grounded place. I'm recognizing how quickly my mind moves and how much time has elevated and sped up and how much my energy impacts the field. But I think this is true for all of us. When we reach a certain point, we realize that there really is no separation between us, and we can start to think from that point. And I feel like that's why some of us, yourself included, are able to connect with Sasquatch, even the fairy folk, and all kinds of the gnomes. I mean, all of these beings, mermaids, they're actual. Maybe not in the same way that we've been taught, but as I've been experiencing, they've been making themselves known um, in the most subtle ways. And it's almost like a pressure. It's like if there was like a veil here, right? Invisible veil, and they're on one side and you're on another side. It's like they're pushing up against it, and you can kind of feel that pressure wave. And then as you clear and as you remove stagnation from your mind, expand your consciousness, it kind of dissolves. And these beings are there. And I think they're waiting for people to interact with them in a very conscious way. So that's the short version, Gina.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the conclusion I came to is that I've been these people have been coming into my life. I do want to circle back to the to your work with the recovery center
Yeah.
because that that is hugely important. But these people have been coming into my life and they're people that are picking up cameras and taking videos and incredible things are showing up on these
Mhm.
videos. They're having these interactions with these with these orbs, with these energies,
Mhm.
and they're not doing anything special. They're just turning the camera on and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm seeing all this stuff in the camera." And I feel like these people are coming into my life for a reason because disclosure, I feel, is so close. And it's not,
Definite.
I've
Yeah.
never really thought that much about disclosure. I kind of just disregarded it and was like, oh, it's all these,
Mhm.
tinfoil hat people who are, conspiracy theory, blah, 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 whatever. Very dismissive and very kind of cynical about it. But lately I've come into contact with people who are kind of in that circle with like the Bledsoes and
Mm.
with other people that are doing really, really incredibly important work. And that's the conclusion I've come to is maybe I feel like I am part of that whole contact
Hmm.
wave, and I never really considered
Gina.
that before. I know, I know. I know, I thought I was all about the energy. Well, and it is, it's all the same thing, right? The
Yeah.
energy work and raising your consciousness and becoming more aware and clearing distortion and able to remember who you are, but also to have contact with our family on the other
Mhm.
side.
Mhm.
And whether that's human spirits or whether that's ETs or Sasquatch or interdimensionals, extra dimensionals,
Mhm.
they're all waiting for us. And I
Yeah.
feel like we all have a part to play with that. And so I'm embracing it. There we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that you need to because like I said, there's a wave that's moving through the collective where a lot of the new age stuff, a lot of the mainstream spirituality is being outed for what it really is, which is
Yeah.
turned into a another way to entrap the mind and the soul. You know, now they're using. I mean, I just saw a progressive commercial not too long ago, and they're talking about like crystals in yoga. Now we all know that progressive has nothing to do with crystals and yoga.
Car insurance.
Yeah, right?
Right.
And so yes, the car insurance. So now, what they're doing is they're trying to take advantage of the truth, right? They're gonna take it, twist it, then give it back to people in a narrative that keeps people under their umbrella, right? And so there's that whole thing that's very real and that's happening. That's where a lot of star seeds and Ethereans and star walkers get caught up in. Then there's those of us, I would say like myself, who I feel like I'm here to build infrastructures for this next wave of authentic spirituality, grounded spirituality, expanded consciousness. And this is what I'm doing with Illyrion in the classes I'm putting on the 6th and the 24th of each month. Um, and then, and that includes really understanding the intrinsic way in which the ether or the source is interfaced with in the physical, right? It's like it's magic. It's short and sweet. It's magic. So really teaching people the real star wisdom once again, and then from there, life begins to mirror that. Life begins to be a reflection and embodiment of the state of mind that people are now in. Now, then we have okay. So once we're there, who's going to meet us? Who are our neighbors going to be? And that's where I feel disclosure comes in, because now
Mm,
it's not just the human race. It's the human race, which is interstellar like default, made to believe that we're not, but it's the humans, it's Sasquatch, it's our starkin, like you said, interdimensionals, animals, even plants, you know,
yep.
that's who is waiting for us. And that's why I feel like people like yourself come in. So it's like we all play these roles. And when you and I connect, we're bridging a part of the framework that is needed. You know, the stars in the forests, interdimensionals, magic, and the thing is, Sasquatch is probably one of the most magical beings you could ever connect with. So it all goes hand in hand, I feel.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. So I want to talk about your work, your new job with the recovery center.
Yeah.
Um, so I feel like many of us who have really big plans, from the other side, soul plans, we came
Mhm.
down here and we're like, we're here to change the world. We're going to do all this stuff. I feel like a lot of us kind of made plans to go as dark as possible
Mhm.
before we get to have these amazing transformations. And definitely okay, so my last interview that I did was with this father-son combo, Paul Sr. and Paul Jr. Oglesby. And Paul Sr. had this incredible story about he was living in Miami. He was deep, deep in addiction. He was homeless. He had
Mhm.
been in and out of jail for years. And there was a point where he was on the beach. He had just gotten released from jail. He had detoxed in
Mhm.
jail, and so like just super vulnerable place. And he was sitting on the beach, and he had this uh, contact experience with a UFO that gave him a profound healing. It
Mhm.
was like it's an incredible story.
Yeah.
I can't even get into it that much. But at some point during the interview, like, even I started tearing up because it was bringing up a lot of, kind of unprocessed
Mhm.
grief and sadness and stuff because I kind of went through the same thing back in
Mm.
my late 20s. There was a period where I was living in Seattle and I was homeless and I was addicted to substances and
Mm.
I had burned all my bridges. It was about as dark as I could have
Wow.
possibly gotten. And there
Yeah.
was one point where I had to just give it all up and be like, I can't do that. I can't do this on my own anymore.
Mhm.
And that's kind of what it was like. It was that day that everything changed. I put myself into the hospital. I told them everything. I ended up getting into a rehab center. And gosh, that was back in 2008. So it was a while ago. But there's, that still stuff gets churned up when you're talking about these kind. It's not, I mean, I don't know if it's so much of a trauma bond, but it's like
Well, it's
it's
just
time to release more,
yeah,
you
it's just
know.
stagnant light codes and, like, time it doesn't matter if it was 2008 or, 1918, the energy pattern is still there, right? So it's like that's what we, um, feel, and all
Yeah.
it takes is a little bit of resonance or someone saying something, and, like, that waveform gets, struck again, and we feel all the emotions and thoughts that come with it, so,
Yeah.
um but yeah, I think I'm sorry, was there more to that you wanted to share before I
Oh, I just felt like that those 2 coming into my life and me doing that interview was such a mirror, and it was a multiple sort of mirror. It was about, like, here's what you still have in your field. You still have some stuff running in your field that's
Mhm,
not great, and it's time to release, but
mhm.
also, like, look how far you've come, you know? It was
I love that.
it was just an incredible experience. So, yeah. So I wanted to talk to you about your like, what made you decide to start working in
Yeah.
recovery?
So it's interesting because what you described right there is like you can hold two things that seem like they're opposites. You can hold them both, and they
Yeah.
both can be true, and that's a really powerful thing to do, and it helps us navigate our freedom because I think so much of the journey, especially when you first wake up, you start to realize what's going on is we get this black and white thing. It's like, well, if I'm spiritual and doing this, then there's no way I could still have stuff. It's like, well, no, you still, it's they go hand in hand. So I just like how you were able to see both of them, recognize how far you've come, but then also see where you were, right? And you're kind of in the middle. But what made me start to want to work in recovery? Honestly, um, so my work has been very nuanced for a couple of years now. Doing really, lots of interviews, lots of podcasts, workshops, in person, online, and it went through a lull because I think what I was bringing forth was so fresh and so new. No one really knew what to do with it because it didn't really relate to what people knew. And
Mm,
also, I needed to kind of curate a better team around me of people who could really help and support, which I think is happening now. But in that kind of zone of not knowing which direction I wanted to go, um, um, so I just started to look up jobs, and I was like, I'm not working in like a traditional setting. Like I wasn't going to just go sit behind a desk. Like I've got to a point where if I know it, if I can feel it, it's going to be. So I just set this in my mind and just looking up jobs and found this amazing opportunity. It was like, um, we're looking for someone who practices qigong meditation, who has a background in wellness and spirituality, and then it was like, who loves nature and loves to go hiking and open minded. I'm like, wait, what
this
is
job
this?
is made for
I'm like,
you.
hold on, is this like a real and so, of course, I applied, right? And it was the first job I applied to. Um, Probably went through like 60 other applications processes, and a month or so went by, and then, long story short, I got the email, and here I am at like my last kind of like, oh man, what am I going to do? And they're like, hey, we'd love to invite you for an interview, and that's kind of how it went down. And it's not. And I tell people when I work with them, recovery is not about the substance; it's about you connecting with why you had to incorporate the substance, right? And that's my main focus. Like I don't even like to say they're alcoholics. I don't like to even get into any of that because that becomes just another narrative that the mind likes to hold on to that then now you're fighting that narrative.
Mhm.
When if humans in general, I don't care from what walk of life, when you're connected to the source and have guidance in how to feel your energy, how to understand your thoughts, how to use your inner senses, you are inevitably going to become more intelligent. Your mind's going to clear, and you're going to start to experience reality differently. And in that waveform, in that state of mind, you no longer are the same person who was the one doing all the other stuff, you know?
Mm,
The urges and the things might come up, but at the same time, now we have different skills to help um, navigate that. Where before it might have felt like sheer desperation. It's like, well, I don't know what to do. I don't, So I love it. I think it's amazing, and beautiful people that some of the most amazing souls are seemingly in like the lowest places, but you know,
yeah. Well, I feel like it's some of us are born into this world and we're so sensitive to energies that
yep,
it is overwhelming at times, and I feel like most people, they just seek relief, you
that's
know?
it.
There's just, like, so much pressure and so much overstimulation that it's just like, oh, give me like, I need to breathe. Give me a break."
And that's exactly, and that's kind of what happens is, and some people, and I've heard people from all over talk about how the system is so messed up that they don't know what else to do,
Mm,
and they can't see another way out, and
yeah.
it breaks my heart to hear that, but it's also makes me realize that like what I'm doing with Illyrian cosmic frequency, it actually has a place now because people are looking
Mm,
for something that makes sense to their soul.
yeah.
They don't want to numb out. They numb out as a byproduct of not knowing what else to do. Like you said, it's a trigger response versus an innate thing just because they're whatever. And so if we provide atmospheres and spaces for people to tune into this inner knowing that they have, that's it. That's the name of the game. The world is going to naturally autocorrect. Um, I think that's a big part of this work.
Right. And the more you want to change, and the easier you can recognize the triggers and what the actual root cause is,
Hmm.
it's easier to navigate your everyday life. You know,
Hmm.
like, you realize you're getting stressed out, you realize maybe there's a trigger and you get that craving to just numb out somehow.
Hmm.
You have these new tools. You know,
Hmm.
you've got qigong, you have energy work, you know how to manage your energy a little bit better. And
Right.
so I feel like, oh, such important work. Such important work. I remember the treatment center that I went to was in like Port Orchard or something like that in Seattle, and it was in the woods on this little island, and there were
Mm,
deer and stuff, and it was just like, just having that little connection to nature made such a
everything.
difference.
We go on hikes and camping trips and everything. It's like, but that's what I'm saying. That's the intrinsic state of being that we get disconnected to, and it's the only relief that we're actually going to find is being connected to the source again. And we find that through these modalities. The modalities, whether it's a hike, whether it's the deer, whether it's a qigong class, they are just pointing to something that's eternal within us.
Mhm.
And it's like once we can fully let that marinate in our cells, in our bones, in our muscles, in our heart, in our mind, in our gut, in our soul, then it just becomes a little bit more clear than just trying to like guess and check your way through life.
Yeah. Right. Right. And just asking yourself, what's the point? Like, why am I
Hmm.
here? If you can remember that connection
Hmm.
and know that you are connected to something bigger,
Hmm.
I mean, that makes all the difference,
It
you
really
know?
does. Yeah.
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 Um, I feel okay, so I have a little bit of a story.
Yeah.
So
That's good.
my mentor, Aisha Love, she has a program, it's called the Higher Love Family, and we do weekly meditations. We do like a global meditation, an activation, and then like an integration discussion every month.
Hmm.
And it's a great way to have a community of like-hearted people and to also do like grid work and stuff together. It's fantastic. I love it. So we had a meditation yesterday, and I believe it was a global meditation. And she's channeling messages for everybody afterwards. And she said something about the whole theme of the meditation was visibility,
Mm.
and how us as healers, as grid workers, as spiritual people, it's part of our job to come out now.
Yeah.
We have to start doing this. We can't hide anymore because we're needed, more than ever right now.
Hmm. Hmm.
And as she's speaking, she said something about, and whether it's, you get approached by your town mayor and your mayor asks you to participate. And I was all, what? That literally happened to me last week. I live in a very small town, and one of the first people that I made friends with was the mayor. And
Wow.
she turns out yesterday, the day we had that meditation and I got the message, she decided to announce that she was running for the House of Representatives for our
Mm.
state. And
Mm.
so I was like, oh my gosh, this is such a great opportunity for me to start volunteering, but to
Wow.
also it's not just me, it's my whole conglomerate
Right. So
of
a
my
whole,
oversoul
yeah,
and connecting to all these different pathways and to help change the field and to spread
right.
my codes and to, it's like it's not
Mhm,
just the little ego self who's going out and volunteering. Like by being more visible and being conscious of that, like our conversation right now, this is a transmission. This isn't
mhm,
just some chit
mhm.
chat. We're doing work. We're
Right.
doing good work and having that visibility. Like when she put it that way, it made a big difference to me. It was like, okay, all right, quit hiding. We got to
It
do this.
it's like, if we take the understanding that this is like, as some would say, a spiritual battle or whatever, right? I see it as like a great body. Within our bodies,
Mm,
we have white blood cells. If there is some sort of virus or some sort of thing, the white blood cells, they show up and they do what they need to do, right? Well, in the greater framework of this planet, that's exactly what happens. The Earth itself has a natural defense mechanism. We are part of that. We are part of that. And so by us hiding and just staying on Instagram or just staying on TikTok, that's not really doing much. It's a good place to get, you know, awareness around what it is that we're doing. But going to run for House of Representatives, look, we need more people in those places. And because honestly,
yes.
I can see it. I can see how that move is a very strategic move to help shift things by kind of being undercover. And that's kind of how I feel at the treatment center is like, I'm there, like like I tell, they're like, they ask me the most wild questions because I'm not someone to work a typical job. I haven't worked a typical job in like a long time, but I'm called into the field to be of greater service because, like you said, the frequencies, just sheer presence helps to shift the most densest parts of the collective. And that's what we're doing. So I absolutely love that. I love that you are now going to venture off and see how you can be of service in that way and bring your light and bring the team. I mean, shoot, let's get it. That's what we're here for.
Yeah. The fact that we're in the healer role, we're in the light worker role in this lifetime doesn't necessarily mean open up. Well, I mean, it can, but that's not the only way by opening
Mhm.
up your own shop and
Right.
offering sessions and stuff. Like, there are so many different ways that we can help.
Hmm.
And yeah, I just feel like that's so important right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Honestly, to get out of the whole social media sort of, I'll start a YouTube channel and I'll get a following and then I'll do a
Mhm.
Patreon and I'll do this and that. Like, there's so many people doing that right now that I feel, I don't know, for myself anyway, like maybe I have a different path.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a bit different.
And I think that's true. I think that it's a little bit of both. I know for me, it's since my work is global and there's so many people all over the world that I connect with. Um, Being in the right positions to reach them first through the internet and then in the physical, right? It's like making those
Yeah.
connections. Like, you and I, this is the second or third interview we've done. Um,
Mm,
and it's happening on the online space. And it's going to be relevant for how it's meant to be here and now. But then, you're gonna go do your thing, I'm gonna go do my thing, and it's not gonna be online. And so knowing how to dance between these different bandwidths of consciousness, I feel like is really key. And that's like part of the self mastery is like, yeah, I was really stubborn. And I don't know if I was fortunate or it just, but I've never seen a job with the job description to where I'm working at now. So it's like, we're not only curating our own experience, but we're also impacting the greater reality at the same time. It's beautiful. It's really, really powerful.
yeah. Yeah. It's so cool.
Yeah.
So yeah. And I am kind of, I am starting to come out more as a healer and
Hmm.
starting a business and offering sessions and everything. And
Yeah. You kind of can't skip that. I mean, you can skip it, but it's like, it just doesn't become like the main and only thing. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, lots of stuff is kind of cooking right now. I'm wondering, so let's hear do you have any Sasquatch wisdom you'd like to share? Any interaction?
Cool. All right, so let's get multidimensional. So I guess for me, it's just become such a normal part of my life now. It doesn't even feel other. It's like it's just it is what it is.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of the progression that happens with people is reading books and hearing stories about Sasquatch, and it seeming like it's so far away and so distant to now having your own experiences. It's like you go up the mountain, so to speak, and then you get here, and it's just like it's like a plateau. It's like, oh, this is just how it is now, right?
Hmm.
It doesn't seem like such a huge incline. It's not so far away. Um, So I don't remember the last time we talked if I'd share this with you, but I'll share it again. Um, so March 1st was my birthday. I have a couple stories. So March 1st was my birthday. Yeah. And oh, so it was my birthday. And then Mike, so, Mike from Sasquatch, Ontario, which again,
Mhm.
another, another real one. I just was looking at his channel
Good
the other
guy.
day. Yeah. Um, he had posted, I think, the first live that they've ever done.
Oh, okay.
I think so, right? I think it was March 1st. It was either live or like a really cool video that I was interested in. And so I went out to the woods the night before or the morning before March 1st, and I decided to kind of create my own communication protocol with the forest friend. So it would just be like a series of like clicks, right, with the tongue, right? And I'm like, okay, just every time I went out, a couple days in a row, just kind of go through that, and didn't really think much about it. Um, I go on March 1st on my birthday. I'm listening to his video. I kid you not, Gina. In the video, they did the tongue click, and I was like, "This is what I'm talking about." Like they'd never have done that,
Yeah.
and so it
That's
was
how they
like
work.
it was
They're
such a cool thing because, of course, Mike's not going to know that some random guy in Connecticut is, wanting.
right.
But it's like the multi-layered interaction, communication that had to go on with Mike, with myself, him and I not knowing each other, but then the Sasquatch being the intermediaries in that bridge. It was just so mind blowing to me. Um, So that was really cool. And then I love dice too. For some reason, I love dice. I like to use them as like telepathic training, where you think of a number and you roll the dice, see if you can get it.
Oh,
Um, yeah. Or you roll, or you close your eyes, you roll the dice, you try to see what number it landed on. Very good for training your mind and your inner senses. And I have this specific green dice. And again, I'm watching a video of his, and in the video, there's a green dice. And I'm like, how does this keep happening?
well, this is how telepathy works. I was just
Yeah.
talking about this with a friend of mine that uh, I feel like a big block for most people who are just starting out with trying to develop their psychic abilities is they have this preconceived idea of what telepathy is. Like
Yep.
it's big booming words, or it's
Yep.
like very clear picture in your mind, and so much of it isn't.
No.
It could be smells, it could be
Yep.
tastes. You're obviously communicating with them telepathically. So
Very much.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, very much
that's
so.
amazing.
Yeah, they've been, and that's the thing. I mean, when I go on meditation, I can yeah, like I said just the other night, I heard them, and I can feel them. And it is this feeling tone. That happened a couple years ago actually, where I first started to where that came back online. I could really feel their presence, like someone was watching. But it wasn't like a scary someone's watching. It was more like curious, like, oh, okay, like who's here kind of thing. Um so yes, they've shown up in my meditations. In fact, I probably have a few notes in here on my phone about the interactions I've had. I've gotten names. I was just looking at this the other day. Uh, Sasquatch meditation. Yeah, perfect. So this is November. Uh, Krys Ra. So yeah, in meditation,
Wait,
saw an image of a
wait
sas.
a second. You got KOL?
Yeah,
That's my guy.
no, it's not.
Yeah, that's his
N-
name, Cole.
No.
Yeah,
Oh
that's
my
the
god.
name I got. Maybe he's helping you out.
KOL.
Mhm.
Okay,
That is so weird.
that is that's. It's not even crazy. That's what I'm saying. This is our new normal. I literally just saw this the other day, and I was like, oh, I haven't thought about that for a while. This was from November 22nd, 2024. Cold
Hmm.
Raw. I have literally have it written here. Sasquatch meditation name.
Yeah, when I first got in
Wow.
when he first got in touch with me,
Wow.
my mentor Asia and I used to call them Cole in the gang.
So
Just
he's so
yeah,
this is the thing. This is important though because these are the kinds of things that need to be documented and normalized, right? So in this moment, we're both like, "Oh my god!" But it's also an invitation to be like, "It's real. This is how it
yeah.
happens. This is where we're at now. This is where you're at now, and welcome." So that is
We're
absolutely
paranormalizing.
paranormalizing. Yes. So I wrote and I have here Cole. So I'm so excited because now I actually have
That's amazing.
yeah,
That's incredible. I love
yeah.
that.
And
He's helped a few of my friends actually.
yeah.
He's come into a few people's
I
meditations.
mean, I was not expecting you to say that. Like that is wild. So in meditation, saw an image of a Sasquatch standing behind me. He told me he was the one from the dream, and that he saved. Or okay, we had a cat. Okay, this is interesting. So we had a cat who disappeared and didn't see him for a while. He, I think he had some developmental things going on with this cat. Um, but Sasquatch came to me in the dream, and he was holding the cat. The cat's name was Paper.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna read this and then kind of give you the kind of the backstory. But he told me he was the one from the dream, and that he had saved or at least tried to help Paper. So he tried to help the cat. Um,
Mhm.
he said that something swatted at him and hurt him, and they took him and tried to heal him by licking him and tending to him. And I'm like, wow, this because I saw Paper in the dream, and I was like, what happened? And in the next day, this is what happened. Um, then I have here, so Krys Ra said that they were angry because of all the deforestation. He was showing me cities and towns built out of balance with nature. Um, he said that they all went deep into the woods and earth to contemplate. This is where they began to learn how to teleport, etc. They said that they were not bound by the traditional limits of the mind that humans have accepted, and so to access those abilities was much easier. So like we have the ability to do that too. So then he was showing me how to do it, and I kind of go into that. Should I share? I
Yeah,
mean, this
of
is
course.
amazing. I
I
cannot.
love it.
This is so cool. So he says here, think of a desired location, let go of the need to be there, simply feel yourself there, but go into deep state or mind trance, like a deep mind trance, and let go of all sensory input. Let the mind and body go. He showed me a huge silhouette of Bigfoot that felt a little bit intense at first, um, and said that they decided to appear Okay, I wrote here they felt intimidating and a bit scary at first, and said that they decided to appear intimidating to try to protect and ward off loggers and those out of balance with nature. So I remember in the meditation, he's taking me through this experience, and he like shows me this huge silhouette. And I was like, whoa, like what? But then he said the reason that they do that is because they yeah they to the wrong people, they're gonna come off as intimidating and scary. Um, but in truth, they have not harmed and will not harm anyone. So that was Krys Ra and the Sasquatch meditation, and I had no
I
idea
can
that.
totally feel him, by the way. Like, the
Yeah.
whole top of my head is like, "Vroom."
Hmm.
Yeah, and
So that
my chest too.
I
Can
felt
feel
it
it
at
in
my
my
chest
heart.
when you said it earlier. When you said that's my guy, I was like, I felt it all in here. So that was cool.
And that's the communication, that's it.
Hmm.
That's the connection. It's yeah. I mean, I've gotten very profound messages from them as well, shorter, but,
Hmm.
just stuff like, "We love you, know your worth."
Hmm.
And,
Hmm.
like, I'll be in the woods not thinking about anything, and
Hmm.
all of a sudden, it's like,
You
"We
get
love
this.
you, know your worth."
Yeah.
It's like,
You
oh,
just feel it. Yeah. Right. And they know what they're doing. Just I don't again, time has become so like a week could be a day ago for me at this point.
I
Like
know, it feels
honestly.
so weird now.
So when I go to try to say, "Oh, this happened a week ago," I'm like, but anyways, some point within a relative year, um, I went out for a hike again, and there, I think I was thinking about them, and then on my way back, I have the pictures and stuff. There were these leaves, so everything was green. Like this was like at the beginning of summer, I think everything was green, and there was this pile, these separate little piles of these branches and leaves that were like dead. And I was like, where did and they were all different kinds of trees.
Mm,
And it wasn't like they just fell, they were like all different kinds of trees. And I was like, where did these come from? And I was like, oh, I know exactly where they came from, and you could see where they would have been like ripped off or, pulled from, I guess, a dead tree or something. But that was just a really unique thing because it was so out of the ordinary. There was no reason for them to be there. Um, Things like that, like nature does have some pattern to it. And it's like the brain, this is what I try to teach people is that our brains are hardwired for cadence, for rhythm, for sameness, right? Whether it's in relation to each other, in relation to our environment, or to our own thoughts, the brain kind of wants cadence. And so if the cadence gets broken by anything, we are very attuned to that. We notice it. And so when we see things like a pile of sticks, or not sticks, but brush that's drastically different than everything else around it, yeah, it's going to be like, okay, what's going on here? This is not which one of these things don't belong, kind of thing.
right. Well, and
Yeah.
there's this instant energetic knowing as well. I remember the
Yes.
first thing that they ever gave me was an acorn in the middle of my driveway. I
Hmm.
mean, what a tiny little thing that, any other day, I would have just kicked it or, just stepped on it or
Yeah.
whatever. But for some reason, I saw that thing and I was like, that's for me and that's from them.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I picked it up and I felt it and
Mhm.
my whole body started
Yes.
buzzing and I was like, "Okay, yeah, that's it." And I don't understand that mechanism, but when I'm walking in the woods and all of a sudden I look down and I see a stick that's in the shape of a Y
Mhm.
or, a glyph that's an X or an A
Mhm.
or I mean just anything. It could be anything, but for some reason I look at it and I'm like, that's
You
them."
can you can feel it. It has the energetics of these experiences, like, it's hard to explain to someone who hasn't experienced it because
Mhm.
it's that you have to be I don't do Reiki, I know everyone and their mother does it, and that's okay. It's never been my thing, but I understand the principle of it, right? Energy
Right.
transference and, like, healing. It's like almost being attuned in Reiki. It's like once you get attuned, you can now you know the frequency signature. I feel like that's kinda the same thing with Sasquatch is, like, once you know funny, I'm looking over here, and in my desk, there's acorns, like, it's like a game,
Ah,
like, all acorns, like, on the edge of the box right now,
yep.
like, right
Funny.
now. Yeah. Um, so, yeah, it's a different kind of feeling tone. It's not just a traditional thought or feeling you get. It's very specific, to what I would feel they feel like. Um, Another story I wanna share with you is, oh, yeah, so I have, like I think I shared with you the prints and stuff. I think I did share those with you a bit ago. That this whole experience was cool. Again, early morning, go for a walk down this path hundreds of times. Now I know the guy who is on the land, but he doesn't. I've never seen his footprints over here. Never like. So I'm going through, and as I'm walking, my first thought was, man, it'd be really cool to see Sasquatch footprints because at that point in time I had not seen any, like it
Mhm.
in real time, not seen any. And so I'm
Right.
just thinking to myself, like, yeah, man, that'd be really cool. I kid you not, I look down and I start to see a whole trail. And then I'm like, I posted this on Instagram, I believe. And I'm like looking and I'm like, "Oh my god, like, is this actually happening?" And then they start to just kind of pop, and I'm zooming out from the camera, from the phone, I'm like looking, and then you can clearly see the path. And then the funny thing was within each footprint, Gina, there was a leaf, which I found to be so interesting because
Yeah.
whenever I walk, I mean, now I'm not that heavy to make a, 2 to 3 inch dent in the earth, but, there is a print when humans walk. I don't think I've ever remembered seeing a footprint and seeing a leaf inside the footprint, let
Yeah.
alone
It's
there
probably a
be
gift for you.
yeah. So it just was like that was a really special time. I think about that often because it just seemed so gentle,
Hmm.
like with like placing the leaf into like each step, each foot, each print. There was a leaf in it, and I took the video, documented it, ran inside, wanted to share it with my girls. Um, Now mind you, I'm going down the same path, so I'm very like tuned in now. I'm like, okay, I'm looking for everything and anything. Don't see
Mhm.
anything else out of the ordinary as I walk back. Um, Come back, and then on the green kind of mossy area, as I'm walking out with my girls, I think my youngest pointed out another print, and this one was thick. It was like this one was much deeper, and it would make sense because the moss and everything is not as dense as the ground, and so then we find a whole other series. It just was a really cool thing. And then now it's just kind of like we'll hear the coyotes. We're like, was that really the coyotes now? And Mike kind of helped me out with that through his videos. Was like
Right.
because
Yeah.
I know I'm
That
talking
happens
a
to
lot.
me too a lot, the coyotes.
Yeah, but it's isn't it? I mean, for you, is it like for us? It's like we'll be thinking of them, of Sasquatch. We won't hear coyotes for weeks.
Mhm.
And we start talking about Sasquatch, and then boom, that night, the coyotes are going wild. So I'm like, yeah.
Time it ever happened with me was when I contacted Kawani Lapsaritis. Do you know
Mhm.
who he is? He's an experiencer, an author. He's
No.
wrote a book. He's written several books now, but one of them's called Psychic Sasquatch,
Ooh,
and yeah,
I know that
I'll
one.
send you some of his books.
Yeah.
He's an intense guy.
Mm,
But when I first started this channel, I contacted him for an interview and we had a chat in my backyard over the phone. And it was, gosh, it must have been like a 2 hour long chat. He's an incredible person.
mm,
But that night, and I've lived here for years, that night I heard a whole gang of coyotes. I've
mhm,
never heard it before.
mhm,
And now when I go out to the woods, Every once in a while, I'll hear them, but it will be after, usually after I start talking to them. I like to go out in the woods at night. There's a certain area that I go to, and I'll just talk. I'll just share my day, talk
Mhm.
to them,
I love that.
and yeah, and express my gratitude. And I feel like the more open I get my heart and the more emotions I can kind of project, that's when stuff starts happening. And
Yeah, you make
I
it real.
feel, yeah, yeah, I've heard now I'm hearing all of these bird chirps, like chirping birds in the middle of the night.
Oh,
It's yeah, and it's like here and then there and then behind me and then over there, and it's like it's the whole woods, and then I'll hear like a big wood snap, and I'm like,
whoa,
"Hey,
yeah.
hey guys, how you doing?"
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, and then I've started seeing orbs that are
Mhm.
like manifesting over the tree line, and
Mm,
they go down into this certain little group of trees that's only it's only like 40 feet away from me. Like I'm
that's
staring
interesting.
into the woods, and I'll say things like, "You guys are my family," and then all
Mhm.
of a sudden a big orb forms and
Mm,
then drops into those trees.
mhm.
And they'll like blast me with that love frequency, and it's so intense that I'll just burst out crying. Like I must to someone passing by, I
You must
must
seem
seem like a
just
like
totally
an
off your
ins
rocket.
yes, like it's midnight. I'm in the woods staring into the tree line crying. Like yeah.
First off, it's really interesting. This is full circle. Years ago, the orbs were really big for me. Same difference.
Mm,
Tree line, they come down. I remember seeing them first through the window and being like, "Are those car headlights? Like, what is this?" Walking out in the same experience, same almost verbatim. So I don't need to re-say it. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, I mean that love frequency, it's real, and it's like
it's intense.
we are so at one point we're so disconnected that yeah, someone walking by was like, "What is this woman doing here?" Right? But it's like you're in a whole different frequency bandwidth than they are. Um, but this is amazing. I remember when I first connected with you, and you were so chill about the telepathic and the psychic functions of Sasquatch, and at that point, I hadn't really experienced enough to like have it click. And you were like, "Yeah, they're talking to me right now." I'm like, "What?" I was thinking like, "What does she mean by that?" And now I'm like, "Oh, I get it." It's like they're much more interdimensional than they are physical. Like they're going to communicate with you. I guess I'm speaking to other people. They're not going to show up in the traditional way that you think. I think that takes years of trust, years of like right place, right time, intention. Um, the stars really have to align for that kind of contact, but they will let you know that they're there. Um, but don't try to look for them and look for an 8 foot tall, you know, huge being. It's maybe yes, 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 but at least my experience has been much more um what's the word? Covert. Overt? Covert. Yeah. Like little
Subtle,
subtle little
covert.
signs like this, right?
Yes.
Like this
Yes.
my daughter just gave like just and then here we are. So this is what they do.
Did I tell you about so I've done 2 interviews with, Mike from
Mhm.
Sasquatch, Ontario. I haven't posted them for various reasons, but
Okay.
I've
You
had
didn't post
2
them?
long c no, no.
Okay.
The first one, the audio got a little
A little
the
weird.
audio was all wonky, and
Yeah.
the second one I just have, it's on the back burner. But, the first interview I did with him, we had a great chat, it was really good, and I was feeling the energy come in, and I would look at the screen and see orbs in his screen, like, in his living room, I could see them floating
Mhm.
around, and I mentioned it, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, they're always around." But I turned off the camera after the interview was done, and I come downstairs, and my wife is in her office working, but she's on her computer, and she's doing this, I don't know, some sort of, like, math puzzle game where you have to solve a math problem, and then a box opens up, and it's like a pixel,
Mhm.
and she was almost done. She had one last, problem to solve. Like, you don't see the picture beforehand, you're just solving a series of, like, math problems.
Mhm.
So, I come downstairs, and my wife is like, "Oh, how was the interview? Who was it with?" And I was like, "Oh, it was this Sasquatch guy." It went well, it was really fun, and she solves the last problem. The image pops up, it's a Bigfoot. I'll s I'll post that in the video too, I'll show the picture.
Until like you don't know until the image is done.
Yeah, there's no image, it's just a series of
Wow.
numbers, like number problems.
Yep.
Image pops up, it's like a big pixelated and it says Bigfoot on the bottom, and I'm like, "That how does that happen?" And then that night I have a dream with Neff, and it was super clear, and it was like we were in a room. Neff is the Sasquatch person that Mike has contact
Mhm.
with the most. So I'm in this room, and all of a sudden, out of the ceiling floats down Neff, but he's upside down for some reason.
Mhm,
He's like a black haze, but it's in the
mhm,
silhouette of a humanoid shape. And we have this long discussion
mhm.
about, I don't even remember what about. It was just like this long connection, really. And it was really vivid. And I woke up in the morning and I knew I had gotten lots of work done, like lots of upgrades and whatnot.
Mhm.
And I come into my meditation room and I have this little guy right here. He was on my bookshelf and he'd been there for a couple months. I walk into the room, it's on the floor in the middle of the room.
Wow. Yeah. Yep,
They just that's how
they
they
do.
love to communicate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
So,
those are beautiful stories, by the way. Thank you for sharing those, and I
oh,
think that what we're learning from them, it's it's like humans have to get outside of their comfort zone. We have to start to view reality from a different set of eyes.
yeah.
You know how easy it would be for them just to, like, plop and be like, "Hey, what's up, guys?" And, like, in their full form, but there's multiple reasons why they don't. One of them being it forces us to activate our inner senses to think differently, to use different parts of our brains, right? And essentially that's evolution. It's like people think of the ETs and they think of like love and light, but they don't think about the big, burly, 8 foot tall Sasquatch in the woods who's just as enlightened and just as potent and powerful and can teach them. Um, and I think that's why their influence has been stifled because of the fact that, in my opinion, they are more hands-on and tangible than any other being. If you have the right connections and everything, I think they're right there. In my opinion, they're the giants. At least part of their
You
species
know,
were the
I
giants.
was just reading that last night. My,
Mhm.
this Yeah, I have a book by a friend of mine, Tanis Hallowell, called Hybrids,
Mhm.
So You Think You're Human, and
Interesting.
she categorizes there's 22 different types of, human interdimensional hybrids that she's had contact with,
Mhm.
and she goes into it with and she I did an interview with her a little while ago, and she told me, she was like, "I feel like you're kind of one of those inner earth people, like, you work with
Mm.
crystals and all this other
Yes.
stuff," and I'm like,
Yes, yes.
"Wow, that really resonates."
Yep. I
But,
can totally see that.
um yeah. But, apparently, that's where a lot of the Sasquatch people kind of retreated to, was inner Earth, along with the
Yeah.
giants and
Yeah.
other interdimensionals back
Well,
when
that's what Cole
that's
told
what
me.
Cole was saying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Literally said we had to go underground. And he didn't say inner earth, but like, we're smart enough to be like, oh, hello.
caves,
Yeah.
right?
So cool. Um,
Makes a lot of sense.
so I have a couple more things. I didn't know I have all these notes. I just found six more notes
Oh,
about
yes.
the experiences. This is 7/18/2025. I just wrote, so that's July of this year. Sitting in the woods for the first time in a while, heard knocking from different Sasquatch, sounded muffled. That was 10:56. Um, May 12th of this year, I just wrote Bigfoot. Oh, okay. So this was a dream. So did you say something about a cabin? He came down, you were like in a cabin or something like that? Is that what the dream you had with Neff?
Oh, I was in a room.
It was in a room?
I don't know if it yeah, I don't know if it
Okay.
was a cabin.
So I wrote, I was in a cabin with a group of people and we did something to invite Sasquatch into the cabin. I don't recall what it was, but we all hid or were really quiet and the Bigfoot came into the cabin. Once they left, we saw their print in the beige carpet. So in the dream, I took photos of it, then went outside to see them. I actually saw their print and face of two of them hiding in the woods, and I saw more prints. It was snowy out, so it was much easier to see them. So in dream, they're popping up.
Mhm.
Oh, interesting. So I remember during one of Mike's videos, he was talking about the smell of sulfur. Do you remember that one at all?
I don't think so.
Okay, so he talked about how they sometimes they'll generate a smell, and one of the smells would be sulfur, and like I had no experience with that whatsoever. Apparently, November 14th, 2024, I wrote Sasquatch 4:40 p.m. Um, smelled sulfur in the car. Now, sulfur is often referred to as like a evil or like a negative thing, but now I'm also wondering if it was something that was taken and twisted to turn us away from one of the ways that Sasquatch communicates. So I don't know.
I have had interactions with them where they've projected smells at me. One time was when I asked them to come and eat apples in my backyard because I have an apple tree, and then that night, I was upstairs in this area in my house, and the windows were open, it was summertime, but I smelled this, like, skunky sort
Mm.
of smell, and I was like, "Hmm, that's odd." And so I went downstairs into the backyard, and there was nothing. There was no smell at all, and, I mean, I know. What's that?
Skunks are pretty obvious.
Yeah, skunks are pretty obvious. There are skunks that live in the neighborhood, so, I mean, that could be something, but going outside and not smelling anything is
Right. That's
kind
different.
of weird.
Yeah.
But then I sat down in one of the chairs and I was, sky gazing, and I saw a couple little orbs kind of flit around in the tree, and I'm like, "Hmm, okay,
Mhm.
that's interesting." And I went inside and went to bed, and then I came out in the morning, and there was an apple with a giant bite taken out of it, crammed into one of the branches of the tree, and it was probably about, I don't know, 8 feet up.
Wow.
So, yeah. And then also, they'll give me, like, campfire smell. If
Mm.
I haven't been out to the woods in a while and they wanna interact, I'll smell it all day, and I'm like, "Okay, I guess it's time to go out."
It's time to hang out with the
So,
homies. That's so
um
I wanna ask you, what do you feel is the overall tone of, now with them? So what's the communication like? What's the intention? Um, and, like, how does your work specifically help people connect, and why is that connection important? That's a lot.
oh, well, it definitely feels like they are kind of, uh, ramping up their level of contact with me. Like I said, I'm starting to get like orbs on a nightly basis pretty much, and I'm starting to see physical structures,
Mhm.
um, one of which is, like, I don't know, 15 feet off the trail, and it the way it's placed is so strange. I feel like,
Hey,
I
Gina.
mean, I've walked this. Yeah.
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I hope we don't lose your thought, but something just pinged in my mind right now. So,
Oh, what's that?
have you seen the Blair Witch Project? You remember that movie?
Yeah.
Remember how
Yes.
it was all about structures and, like, this being that they couldn't discover?
Uh-huh.
What I just got the message, like, that they made those movies specifically to hide the truth of Sasquatch, how they communicate, to make people afraid
Oh.
of, going into the woods.
Ah, well, it certainly freaked me out at the time.
Yeah, it worked.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
Ugh,
right?
that's annoying, but it's not gonna work.
Oh, no,
I
it's like
mean,
they try, but yeah. But just
ankle biters.
yeah, just for the collective, like, if you guys, yeah, kind of wanted to say that, but yes, continue.
Wow.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, so the way that this thing is placed, it's almost like it turns two-dimensional and disappears when you pass it. Like, it's
Mm.
so hard to see. And I feel like, so I was telling the story to my friend Ginger, and she told me, she was like, "Well, you had to raise your frequency in order to see it."
Mhm.
Like, it was kind of timed for you to be able to
Mm.
see, like, if I was at a lower frequency or, some other time, I wouldn't have even been able to see it, but I had just happened to, like, turn my head a certain way, and I'm like,
Wow.
"Wait, there's some sticks over there," and I went and looked, and it's this, like, 25-foot long structure, enormous, that I
Wow.
don't understand how I wouldn't have seen.
Yeah.
But, but there's stuff like that, and then also in this little cluster of trees that I've been having the orb interactions, where the orbs will form and then drop into the tree, and then sometimes I'll see it's almost like someone has a flashlight and they're aiming it up at the sky inside
Mhm.
the trees, like, kind of like a little pillar of light. It's faint, but I'll see it and I'm like, "What is that?" And then other times I'll see the trees start to sparkle, like the top of
Mhm.
the tree will, like, start sparkling, and I'm like, "Am I really seeing this?"
Mhm.
Um, I just walked past the trail the other day and I looked into those trees and there's a little structure inside of it. All of these little sticks are being intertwined and woven together, and it's clearly a structure, but
Mhm.
I've never seen it until just the other day
Yeah.
because I never thought to look. And I feel like they're giving me these messages and they're putting me in contact with different people like yourself.
Mhm.
And I just feel like I'm really supposed to talk about this more
Mhm.
because this is my experience, like,
Mhm.
it's it's happening to me. And you were just mentioning that this is like the new normal and it feels normal, but it's kind of, I was talking to somebody yesterday and I'm like, some days I feel like it's just another Tuesday and I'm seeing all of this bizarre stuff and having these interactions and it feels so normal.
Mhm.
But then sometimes I'll switch and be like, I feel kind of insane right now. Like,
Mhm.
this all feels bonkers. I'm
Mhm.
talking to the air. I'm crying in the woods in the middle of the night. Like,
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe I'm kind of stabilizing a new frequency, but I just know that I'm supposed to talk about this stuff more. I feel like there's like I'm playing a part in this
Yeah.
contact slash disclosure stuff. And yeah, I guess I'm just kind of leaning into it now.
Yeah.
It's very new though. I haven't like just recently I came to this conclusion,
Well,
like within the last week, pretty much.
you're
So
embracing it, and that's all we can do whenever something like this shows up. I mean, and it can feel very like jarring at first, but you think of the baby that's learning how to walk. Of course, it's going to look awkward
mm,
and silly, and as it falls down over and over. But sooner or later, it does stabilize, and then that walking becomes its new normal. Um, so again, I think of the juxtaposition of you being in the woods and crying, speaking to the air, and someone walking by. It's not that what you're experiencing isn't valid or real. It's that they, within themselves, have capped what's possible
mm,
and what's real. And so,
right.
as you are now operating on the other side of that, from their purview, of course, it's going to seem awkward and like what's going on there.
Yeah.
But
And it's so new to me that I still have these
yeah,
kind of uh I don't know, distortions or expectations or standards, and I'm like, this is so new, it doesn't feel like it's totally landed yet.
yeah.
Um,
Sorry, I just heard.
I have
Yeah,
oh,
I
go
just
ahead.
heard an interesting sound in here. Yeah, I'm in the room. I just
Hmm.
heard it sound like two sticks, like. But carry on.
I
Yeah.
just I just remembered, I have a friend she's extremely psychic, and she was doing a reading for me a few years ago. I literally just remembered this, and she told me, she was like, "You're supposed to be part of disclosure. You're supposed to be a translator." And I
Mm,
was like, "What? That sounds that sounds a little far-fetched."
mhm,
But maybe that's part of it. Maybe this is the translating,
mhm,
you know?
mhm,
These
mhm.
maybe just talking about it is the translation. I don't know.
And if we could go further with that, we could zoom out and said, okay, Sasquatch are here, the ETs are here, people are talking about it. What do you feel like? What would that lead to? Like for you personally, but also for humanity.
Well, I mean, I just saw an article the other day in the news about how people in Congress were shown an orb from this man, Chris Bledsoe, who I was talking about earlier. He has these events where he calls in orbs and people come and see them, and he had a whole experience with I don't know, some entity called the Lady that he talks about. He's written a couple of books. I think one's called like The UFO of God or something like that. But he's working with yeah, I think so. But he's working with these different groups, like he's working with I think the government and other facets of
Mhm,
society where they're doing they're doing these calling in orbs and calling in different I don't know, different beings, and like people in Congress are seeing it. It's crazy.
mhm,
So I feel like that we're getting desensitized maybe. Maybe it's getting normalized.
mhm.
Maybe. Maybe we're getting ready for actual
Yeah,
contact with someone,
yeah,
on a more physical level.
yeah.
I'm not really sure.
Yeah, okay. I feel that. I would say that. I always say like I wouldn't be here if something big wasn't going to take place, right? If something.
What it feels like. It feels like something major is gonna happen soon.
Mhm. And I'm very physically young still. I mean, I'm still in my mid 30s.
Mm.
So it's like saying bye to my daughter. It's like, in another 30 years I'll only be 60. So it's like if we're sitting here in 2025 talking about Sasquatch, like in another 30, like the world is not going to be the same. This is just the beginning, the tip of the iceberg, and this is what it looks like to become interstellar again. This is what it looks like to become an advanced society. Is it starts as a whisper, it starts as like, what's that lady doing in the woods? And then it leads to technologies and ways of being that are truly life producing and organic and natural. And contact, we won't even be calling it contact. We'll just be saying, those are our friends. That is our family. Those are our kin.
Reunion.
True reunion in a stellar and a terrestrial sense and an inward sense, including the inner earth beings. I think they also need some liberation too. They kind of get like, I feel like they're like the cousin that really doesn't get talked about. Like people know they're there, but they're like, oh yeah, that's just George. It's like, no,
Mhm.
that's George. So George needs love too. We're not
Yeah.
just here for the stellars. We're not just here for the earthlings or the interdimensionals or the mermaids or the um, gnomes. We're here for it all. And I think each of us have different facets and avenues in which we are drawn to, either because we have kinship there or we have agreements there, but that all those avenues that I just shared all connect into one thing, and that's a broader planetary and cosmic experience. It's
Yeah.
essentially the source wanting to know itself through all these forms, and then being like, okay, now we can
Yes.
hang out and get along
Yep.
instead
Mhm.
of fighting each other. So yeah,
A true reunion, I feel like.
yeah,
And I think the first step is really getting to know yourself better
hmm,
and learning how to connect back into yourself and learning how to be quiet and to
yes,
listen to yourself.
that's
And
so good. People, yeah,
that's where you come in, and
hmm,
I am coming into that, I
hmm,
guess. I still, Chris, I still have maybe I still have persecution fears or something, but I'm still working through this the
different thing.
visibility thing and
Yeah.
being seen and being comfortable with like self-promotion and stuff like
Hmm.
that. So,
Well,
but
I can,
everything in time.
yeah. Do we have time for me to speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So that's a real thing. Part of understanding life is knowing that death doesn't truly exist. My next class on the 24th, I'm going to be talking about letting go of the death fear and restoring the life code. But part of that, when it comes to this work, it's very challenging to get in front of the camera and stand up as someone who knows something, right? Because there's the stigma of like, oh, I don't know anything. I'm just this humble little, I don't know anything. It's like, no, you do know something. It's share with me, right? Um, and that fear of persecution is real, but it's also something that's not going to happen this time around. I don't think it is. I think that there is too many of us, and if one of us goes out who are truly doing the work, then it's going to create a cascading event that like I don't think anyone wants to deal with. And we have to remember too that like our side, our team, they have our back. Some of those orbs you see, they could be extraterrestrial, they could be interdimensional, they could be inner Earth, they could be Sasquatch, they could be all of it, but they're part of your framework and they're there to help and protect you. I have my own orb, you know, um, thing that happens in the stars and everything. I know that's the homies, and so walk as if you truly do have a field of very powerful, pure beings beside you, because you really do. And as you step into this more and give yourself permission um, to feel the fear and move through it anyways, you're going to become more than you ever knew you could. Like that's the thing is feeling the fear, saying, "Hey, yes, I know you're here. I see you. I'm still walking forward. I'm still saying yes and doing this."
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
there's your,
Exactly.
there's your
Thank you.
talk.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Like um I was doing a practice session with somebody right before I got on this call, and there was some point during the session where I heard a small version of myself, an inner child version, go, "I can't do this. I'm not strong enough." And I was like,
Mm,
"It's okay. We all love you.
mhm,
You're okay."
mhm.
It's all, and yeah, it was powerful because it was like I felt like it was a healing for my, and it always does. It always is, right? Like when you do a session with somebody,
Right,
you're always getting a healing out of it on some level.
right.
But yeah, it was like every single practice I do with somebody, I get a little bit stronger, I get a
Mhm.
little bit more confident, and it's a good chance to have these little mini conversations with
Yeah,
little
and
baby G.
there's not gonna be like there's no such thing as being ready. Like there's being ready doesn't exist because
Yeah,
all you
right.
you really do learn as you go. I mean, that's the only way to like. Were you ever really ready to ride a bike? No, you just got on the bike and fell over, and then got on and fell over. Then okay, this time you wobbled a little bit. So really, ready is something that happens once you put forth the effort. Once you learn how to ride the bike, you can say, "I'm ready." In other words, I've arrived. And so it's like sometimes speaking for myself, I would hold myself back because it's like, well, this doesn't look right. It doesn't it needs to be this way. It's like, Chris, people don't care about the aesthetics, like maybe on some level. Because whenever I do my videos, I'm like, oh man, sorry guys, I'm working on that. But it's like I need to remind myself that it's the core vibration and the frequency that we're coming from that matters. When we speak, there's this place that we're speaking from that people feel. And as long as we're doing that, there's no rule book. I don't know, Gina. There's no like, hey, Gina, do that, do this. The best I got for you is keep being you.
And all of those, like, all of those perfectionist sort of little mosquitoes buzzing around are just they're just, what are they? Protection.
They're just
It's
ways
protection.
for the mind to, again, the brain likes cadence, right? So
Symmetry.
like symmetry likes cadence. So when you
Yep.
go out of rhythm, it's going to remind you that you're not in rhythm. So it's really just a reminder. But it's like, yeah, I'm not in rhythm because I'm no longer playing that tune anymore. So it might sound disharmonic to the inner self in that way, but what we're doing is we are recalibrating so that the message is more refined. And shoot, if there's anything I know about reality, it's that like the source is always looking to harmonize itself. It's never looking to truly destroy. Destruction is really a form of organization and recycling of its own. The leaves do it all the time. They fall on the ground, they decompose, and they restructure into the tree again.
Yeah.
So it's like we have to have grace and ease for ourselves. Yeah, speaking to myself too, in that way,
Yeah. Yeah, I guess we can all use that reminder,
right?
right?
Yeah.
It's the journey, not the
Th-
destination.
exactly. So,
As
well, go ahead.
Oh, no, you go ahead.
Yeah. I was just going to share a little bit more about Illyrian and kind of what I was doing in that.
Yes,
Yeah, if
I
you,
forgot to ask you.
that's okay. Here, you're the interviewer. You ask me. I'll wait.
So, Chris,
Yes.
cosmic frequency Chris,
Yes.
what is Illyrian? Illyrian?
Illyrian. Yep.
Illyrian. What is Illyrian?
Illyrian is at the basis, it's a civilization seed, meaning it's a framework of consciousness that has different facets to it that is quite actually helping to revamp and offer a different way of being to humanity.
Mm,
It stems from my own stellar wisdom and knowledge and experiences and what I've remembered, but it taps into ether physics, education, which I call eduseer. The root word of education is eduseer, or there's like five different ways to say it, or like educere. And there's also the technological component and the society component. And Illyrion is kind of like, you have the seed, you plop it in, and it starts to propagate into all these different facets of the human experience. So what I do is I am cultivating all I've learned, all I've remembered, and offering it back to humanity so that one day um, kids can grow up and not have to worry about fighting the system and everything. They can literally grow up connected to their star family, to the Sasquatch, to their breath, to the source, to the ether within them. Um, it's a place of resonance. I have classes on the 6th and the 24th. Um, we're going to be talking about this next class is restoring the life code. We did a class on Nikola Tesla and moving into a post wiring epoch, which is what the cosmic frequency devices or the technology side of Illyrian is based on. Post
mm.
wiring meaning no wires, consciousness, crystal technology, and really advanced ways of operating. And the class before that was, oh no, then we did a class on Atlantis and what really happened in Atlantis and what took place and how that echoed into America and into the current modern world and how we can move into what I call the name beyond Earth. So the name beyond Earth isn't something that is said, it's something that is felt.
Mm.
So that was a beautiful class. And then the first class was um, on forgiveness. So letting go of things that no longer serve us. Yeah. So Illyrian Civilization Seed, um, the depths of my soul shared with humanity to help progress the species in a way that's more harmonious. At least in my opinion, I think it would be.
Are these like separate classes, or is it a whole the whole school,
So it
the
is
whole shebang?
essentially the goal of Illyrian is to be an atmosphere of reseeding true knowledge and wisdom.
Mm,
In short, I can say that 90% of what we've learned, even spiritually, has been manipulated. And what I teach doesn't come from books or texts. It comes from sitting in meditation and reading my own code, communing
mm.
with my inner self, with my family, both woodland and celestial. And so we're gonna have a star temple. We're gonna, have different places around the world where we share this stuff with people and reseed this wisdom again. But for now, we meet on the 6th and the 24th for individual classes, we are looking to we're creating a our own web app so people can like host, not host, but join these classes. There's not gonna be any link to any kind of like ex it's gonna be its own literal thing, and I think
Awesome.
that's the way I need to go. So um it's really, really powerful stuff. I mean, some of the things that I've brought through with Illyrion is like I can't wait for people to start to really interface and engage with it because it's freeing. It's the next wave of consciousness, I feel.
Right. Well, I can't wait. I wanna check it out.
Yeah.
That sounds really awesome.
All that to say, you will be able to join. Bear with me. You can still join this next class if you really want. I'll probably just do it through
I'd
like
love to.
Google for now or something, until we get the web app situated. So
Okay.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, that sounds really, really exciting. I've been thinking so much about community lately. And I mean, that ties in with a message from my buddy Aisha yesterday, where it's like, go out into your community and start,
Connecting.
start working with the field.
Uh-huh.
I feel like we're all getting this call to move out and to work more with our community, because that's where actual change is going to
Yes.
start happening. It's
Yeah.
so easy to sit here and be like, oh, the world's all screwed up and it's this guy's fault and that person's
Hmm.
fault and it's everything else. But
Right.
it starts in here. You got to do the inner work and
Yes.
look at yourself and then move out. And it's not about changing people's minds
Nope.
or trying to fix everybody. It's just moving out and knowing that your emanation is needed
Yes.
within your community. So,
Exactly. That's exactly it. It's like, yeah, you can't go out into the world. I mean, you can go out into the world and kind of on a surface level and like without doing any of the work, but you're only going to get the same back. And that's why taking time to yourself and really cultivating your own source code, your own gnosis, and then expanding from there, that's what that's what changes, right? That's essentially what you said how you started this show was like you've really had to learn how to embrace what is in front of you and who you are
mhm.
and the experiences you're having.
Instead
And
of comparing yourself with everyone else and
yep,
trying to put yourself in a box.
yep,
Yeah.
not gonna happen. That's what they want. They want you to be a cookie cutter spiritualist. And I was like, don't have time. I'm out. Nah, right?
Right. Right. Yeah. I feel like I've spent half my life trying to fit into other people's boxes, and
Hmm.
I'm done.
Well,
It's too draining.
it's
I use too
so
much energy.
so much energy and you're not moving from your heart and you're thinking about how you're coming off to fit this box and like by the time you do that you've lost your original message and now you're trying to backtrack and find it through them. It's speaking from
Yeah.
experience, so
Yeah.
it's
Well, I guess we all have to learn that though.
yes. Yep. Well, that's what I felt about like
Yeah.
cosmic frequency. If people go far enough back, like I started this my Instagram as like something totally different. It was called Peaceful Human Advancement, and that came from
Mm,
like the contact I was having with my star friends, which was almost every night going out under the stars, seeing starships, getting telepathic messages. Um, and, that transitioned into the frequency of that experience. And then now into Illyrion, which is kind of the combination in the offering, right? It's like I took myself through this journey. It's so cool. But we all have to
yeah.
go through that. We all have to go through that refining process. And then it's like a tree that grows. You plant the seed, it sprouts into the tree, and then at the end of the tree's life or through its cycle, what does it do? It drops the fruit,
Or
right?
the acorns.
Or
I guess acorns are fruit.
the acorns, yes, or the nuts, right?
Yeah.
And essentially that those acorns carry the code of the tree, but also hundreds more, you know?
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that.
Maybe that's
Yeah.
your acorn message.
I need to grow my own acorns and
Yes.
plant them everywhere.
Yes. You are now you are now the tree that is giving the acorns. That's it.
Oh my gosh, my new healing business is gonna be called Acorns of Light.
Like, actually, or did you just think of
I
that right
just
now?
I was it was a joke. I was just
Oh.
joking.
No, that's
No.
awesome. I like that.
Acorns of Light. Ha, no, 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 it's AetherFlows healing.
Oh,
That's
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 even
the
that's okay, that's kinda cool. That's kinda
yeah.
cool.
Well, I mean, you're all about ether, so
Yeah, the ether is we talk about the great mother, the great father, and really it's the ether 'cause, I was just talking the other day about how when we say father and mother, we kind of the brain wants to associate with, like, a feminine figure or masculine figure, but it's like the ether is the source. It is
mhm,
what some assume the great mother to be, but it's like, not that I dismiss the mother or the father, but it's like the principle of what we are, of what sustains this body, your body, Sasquatch's body, the DNA within the acorn, that's it. And when we can get in tune with that, anything is possible. That's truly the magic that I feel we're tapping back into.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
Krys, what an awesome conversation.
Yeah. This is fun.
I'm so glad we got back together.
Me too.
We're back together again. Yeah,
I think that there's this ping, right? This doo and then we, go back out and um, do the great work.
for sure.
Thank you for showing up, for being true and authentic to yourself, for stepping outside of the box, because your light is definitely needed. There's not anyone else on this planet who can do what you do. I mean that
Aw.
quite literally, and honor that. Recognize that. And,
Yeah,
the Sasquatches,
yeah.
they thank you. The Star People, you get it.
I get it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know. I love them too. They're
yeah.
awesome. Same to you, Krys. You're one in I mean, you're completely unique and your light is needed as well. And I feel like this whole project of doing the podcast I have made the best friends.
Mm,
Like this is incredible. I feel like this never would have happened if I hadn't have started this podcast. I've
yeah,
met so many amazing people. So thank you again for coming on
you're welcome. Yeah.
and and we'll see each other again. I'm going to stop this video.
Okay.
And to everyone who's still watching, thank you so much. And check out his website.
Uh-huh.
Krys is amazing. He's
Thank
so,
you.
I mean, you guys already know. Okay. See you guys later. Bye.
Bye.
Okay.